Hey, my name is Jordan. I'm going to be taking you through the melody for this classic gospel tune by Flatt and Scruggs, Get in Line, Brother. Learning the melody is great. No matter what level you are, learning the melody is great. It is the foundation of the tune. It is the tune, right? Everything that we play is based around it, from chord changes to cool variations and other little rhythmic subtleties. Everything is based around the melody. And when we know these important melody notes, we'll know the important notes to highlight when we're playing a more fancy Scruggs style version, melodic version, or whatever picking style we might want to try to interpret this tune through. So I'll play through it so you get an idea of how it sounds, and then we'll talk some practice strategies, technique tips, and even go over a few of the licks that you can check out in Tunefox. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. To internalize this timing, the counting will help, as will repetitive listening with the Tunefox player, and also just make a playlist, throw this thing in there, and try to listen to it regularly. Okay. Another thing that will help is saying or singing these lyrics as we play it. And this isn't something you have to do every time, but just working on it some and being able to do it will greatly help your musicality, and it's really going to help you memorize the tune as well in a really natural way. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Oh, listen to me, sinners, don't you wanna go? For someday he's coming back again, you know. If the wrong ain't right and you'll be lost in sin, get in line, brother, he will take you in. All right, so I was singing it there. If you're not comfortable with singing, just speaking the words will also help. As long as we're trying to speak in time, it's going to be best that you do that along with the Tunefox player, so you make sure you're keeping a really steady beat. All right, just a little example of that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Oh, listen to me, sinners, don't you want to go? For someday he's coming back again, you know. Again, singing or saying the words will really help you memorize this, but you can also use the high notes tool or the memory gain option in Tunefox. Those will start to kind of blot out the notes, so you'll be able to see what strings all these notes are on, but not what frets. So it's a great way to test your memory or to try to learn by ear. Anytime before you start practicing, make sure to listen, once or twice with the Tunefox player or with an original recording, and then read through it, kind of scan through it, especially when you first start, right? Because we want to try to notice any repeating measures. If we see repeating measures or patterns, we can just practice that for a little bit. And if we just practice that one repeating pattern, we'll have it down whenever it pops up in other parts of the song. For example here, measure 2 is the exact same as measure 6. So we would probably want to get that one down first before we try to tackle the whole song, and that way we're practicing more efficiently. All right, so this melody is just over the verse. We're learning just the verse melody because really as a bluegrass banjo player, just as banjo players, that verse melody is usually the most crucial, because when we do start trying to learn to play more Scruggs style leads or melodic leads, whatever, when we start trying to learn to play lead breaks, those leads are based over the verse melody. So we need to be really familiar with what that melody is so we can try to highlight those notes within our own solos. So the melody here is pretty simple. The chord changes are very simple as well. It's just a 2-chord song, G and D. 2-chord songs are pretty common in bluegrass, and if you've never done any practice switching between chords, I think this one is a great opportunity for you to practice that, because we're just working on 2. So what you might want to do is just strum that chord either once per measure for every 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or strum it with quarter notes. And you'll definitely want to have some finger preparation to get the chord in place and ready kind of in the air above the strings before you need it there. The only tricky part here is going to be that measure of 2/4, which is marked in the tablature. You'll just strum that D chord twice before going back to your G chord. And make sure when you let off this D chord not to completely open up your hand, right? We want to keep the fingers curled and so the chord will be ready to go for the next time that you need it. So the licks in this one are pretty cool. We've got a few that just show you how to add in a basic roll, the square roll, and some pinches, and that can start to get you a lot closer to that bluegrass banjo sound. If these are too tough, don't worry about it. Just keep enjoying what you are playing and what you can play with your instrument. Learn some more melodies. And you can also try to use the difficulty slider and the tempo slider for these individual measures to make these things just a little bit less intimidating. All right, so let's look at that Scruggs lick for measure 3. This is the one I was talking about where we're just adding in a simple alternating roll and a few pinches to liven up the sound. So the lick that's available for measure 3 that we're talking about, you can also use that in measure 7. The melody is the same there, so we can add this cool variation and drop it in at that point in the song as well. Let's take a look at these Scruggs riffs for measure 5. So here's what we're going to start out with. We've just got a forward-backward roll, but we're going to fret this second fret note. You know, that's part of the original melody as well. And then we're going to end with a couple note pinches. So we're going to play the G note, the 3rd string with our thumb, and then pinch twice. It's going to sound like this. Right? That alone sounds pretty cool. All right, once you get that down, we're going to add in another component if we check out the Scruggs number 2 riff. So we were already holding down our 2nd finger there at the 2nd fret. Now what we're going to do is when we start the forward-backward roll, after we pick that 1st note, when we pick our 2nd, we're going to slide up to the 3rd fret. Once we get there, we're going to get our index finger in place on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. And when we complete this roll, like when we get to the other half of the forward-backward roll, we're going to let off that 1st finger and then move this middle finger back to the 2nd fret. So here's what this will sound and look like. Right, and up to speed, this sounds great. All right, and then in the Scruggs number 3 riff, we are adding a pull-off. So instead of just lifting our finger once we slide it up to the 3rd fret and going back to the 2nd, we're actually going to leave it there and do a pull-off to our 1st finger on the 2nd fret. Here's what this one sounds and looks like. This is quintessential Scruggs vocabulary. So if you have it in you, work on this one because it's really important and a big foundation of Scruggs style banjo playing. All right, if you look at measure 10, we've got another kind of evolution of a Scruggs lick. Uses a different roll pattern, and we end up using a little bend at the end as well. And again, this one is a classic bit of Scruggs vocabulary that's great to learn. Take it in steps. Don't try to get it all in a day, right? It takes time to learn this stuff and to build it up. So you've got to learn at your own pace here, and don't be too hard on yourself. All right, if you want to, you can give a shot and try to learn either the vamping or the Scruggs for this. Both of those are pretty tough. If the melody was a challenge for you, they might be too much. You can try to tackle it a measure at a time and use the difficulty slider. But most likely, if the melody was tough for you, just check out some other melodies. Check out some other songs you like and maybe try a few licks. But if you're up for the challenge, take it a piece at a time and don't be too hard on yourselves. And again, don't try to learn it all in a day. Just learning one measure from one of these other vamping or Scruggs style arrangements will be an achievement, and it'll be something that you will have gotten better at on the banjo. So it'll be something to celebrate as well, and just another stepping stone in your journey as a musician. All right, that's all we have for the melody on Get in Line Brother. I hope you all enjoyed it. Keep picking and stay tuned.